Fire Department. So we are, the time is here for us to proceed with that process. Once the assessment centers are done, the consultant has assured me that the results will be forwarded to HRD. The town doesn't have a role in that process. HRD then reviews those assessment center results and then provides the town with a promotional list, a certified promotional list, so then we can make a permanent appointment to both our police and fire chief positions. Good news is, it does not take a extensive period of time for HRD to turn around a promotional list. We all know, have heard the experiences that it takes a number of months from a person taking a written exam until such time as a certified list is available. In this case, we can expect that a list will be available fairly shortly after the assessment centers are completed. So both Tuesday and Thursday of this week are dedicated for that purpose. It's very important. And those exercises will be taken here in Town Hall. So beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow, that process begins. Any questions? Okay. Fire is Thursday. Thursday. Good luck. Yeah, thanks. The next item I wanted to give you an update on is the revenue report. And I meant to share this with the board at one of the previous meetings, but we didn't have the opportunity. It's the February 1st revenue report. It gets produced through the Finance Department. And just wanted to report that we are on target for our FY 2008 revenues, including our motor vehicle excise tax. Here it's shown at collected to date of $448,987. However, a large motor vehicle excise tax commitment was issued in February, and this commitment, together with collections, project out at 96% for the budgeted amount. So that's the amount that, and of course there are always smaller commitments that come in after the fact. So I feel confident that our revenues are in good shape for fiscal year 2008. Similarly, our investment earnings are strong, and they will be supplemented by the payment that we will be receiving from DHCD on the Berry Center Chapter 40R project. Just as a note for the board, all of those documents have been submitted to DHCD. Contracts have been signed. DHCD has returned those signed contracts to us. So we are simply awaiting receipt of the funds, and when that's received, I will notify the board. The amount that's expected is $1,218,000, which will flow through in free cash and be available for the October town meeting for the purposes of the debt stabilization fund, as the board had previously decided. The other comment that's in here is concerning the sanitation budget. I think we already talked about that, but the good news is on the revenue side, we are meeting our projections. And as the economy softens and weakens, we always become fearful that our local estimated receipts will not be coming through, and it appears as though we've been conservative enough in our projections for this fiscal year that we will realize our numbers and avoid any major financial problems at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, but next year, and
Next year is next year.
your estimates is,
Next year is next year. We will, the benefit of providing a fairly conservative forecast, obviously. Any questions on the revenue report? Okay. Last on the list.
Just as a miscellaneous non-recurring,
Yes.
so obviously well above projected, what were the additional receipts that we didn't anticipate?
The major one was the $531,000 that came in back in July on the sale of the land up at the Berry Center.
So in actuality, if you take that out, and that's what, maybe not quite 50%?
Right. And when we put these numbers together, we're anticipating that we would be receiving that at some point. So. Last, but by no means least, is you have a copy of a release that was issued through the Massachusetts Campaign for Open Government. It's their recognition of cities and towns that have outstanding websites. You'll see that North Reading is on the list. This is the second consecutive year that the Mass Campaign for Local Open Government has recognized North Reading. The criteria is having key public records online for easy access by the public. And then further, what they did was they singled out 17 communities, including North Reading, as offering more than what their standard is, and so they've, I think it's good recognition. It, you know, we're in the process, and the ability to offer information is important to us. It's nice to have someone on the outside single out North Reading's municipal website, together with 16 other communities in the state. There is a presentation tomorrow at the State House, which I received notice of when I came in this morning, and unfortunately, because of the assessment center, cannot attend that, but it is something that I think is important, the public would be interested in, at least some bit of good news out of today's meeting.
Someone going?
To give it a lecture, way, send Gene in.
Yes, I say send Gene.
Yeah, we
Someone going?
I don't believe so, because the notice was so late. Last year, we at least had a couple of weeks to react to it. This year, it was an email that was in my inbox this morning. Congratulations, we'd like to see it tomorrow. So, yeah, I don't know where anyone that can kinda react that
You were a
quickly.
superstar, too.
You're a superstar, imagine if you were
Yeah,
just a star.
Yeah, well,
Might get something to say, hey, we'll see you yesterday.
I don't think Andover got designated as a superstar,
What time
so I
is
feel
it?
pretty good. I'll check the time, I'll give it to you before we leave today.
And can Gene afford to,
We didn't even check.
Did you go last year?
Yeah, we went
Was it
last year.
nice thing?
Town clerk and I went last year.
Was it a nice thing?
It was, yeah, because we had an opportunity to react. You know, we take pictures and
Do you think Gene would like to go?
recognize you and call you up one by one. It's a nice thing. It's something that they invite all the state reps and state senators to. It's kind of a nice occasion. It's done right at the State House.
It's nice to do something for him.
you can free Gene up, you can pick him up and go in with him.
I'll touch base with him before I leave. The last item is,
Nice way to thank him for all that he's done. If he wants to go.
no, I can't go.
I think
No,
he's gonna
no,
go.
I'm stuck.
Sure.
The only other item is a matter pertaining to collective bargaining and litigation strategy concerning some ongoing litigation that I'd like to have an opportunity to address in executive session.
Any other questions for the administrator? All the new business. Michael? We'll go clockwise. Steve?
Nothing other than, I don't think we went far enough. Enough said.
I just wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day and a happy evacuation day for those in Suffolk County. That's about it.
Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, one thing. The sheet that Mrs. Castro gave us tonight, I do think we have an obligation, and we should look into these cuts, and we should see what can and can't be done. You know, I've looked it over quickly, and everyone does deserve to hear answers to this in a timely fashion. I don't necessarily mean next week, but if you know what I'm saying. I don't really want to put these on the back burner. I want to get the answers. There's some here we won't be able to answer, but we owe it to everyone to tell them that. We can't answer it now. We don't know what these figures will be. You know what I mean? Let's just, let's just, you know, put our nose to the wheel, I guess. Not tonight, not even next week, but let's get some answers to these questions. And, so that we get some answers to them. It's a fair question.
You all set?
Yep.
First of all, I agree with Steve that, we could be doing more, and looking at some of the, items, not many of them, are new to us, we've heard them before. I agree with Joe that, until we get to April town meeting, we still have a few weeks, and that we should probably take another look at, whether or not we can come up with an agreement on finding some additional funds for the school budget. We talked about the insurance earlier, and that may be wishful thinking, but it's also probably, we we'll have some figures in the next few days, unless they fall short of their commitment. In case, there's not much we can do about it until we have the numbers. But once we have the numbers, then I think it makes it easier to, one, even take another look at the copay issue, which is something that has been put up. It's in my slides from before, and I still feel strongly that an adjustment needs to be made in that area. I understand the issues of the fact that it's not something that, you know, in the public sector, a company can just go do. This is something that, under state law, we're obligated to negotiate. And what's difficult about it is that any negotiation will take some time, so you can't count on the money, and then it becomes difficult to deal with making an adjustment if you don't fail. And for those of you that don't know, that with respect to, although these would be for adding positions, so it's not the issue of the layoff issue, that notice has to be given by middle of May, or is it the middle of June?
First week of June for the school
First week of
department.
June, yeah. So, I think we owe it to the community to continue to look.
Just in relation to that, it could, depending upon if the board's gonna revisit the issue, if the board decides to move forward on it, to make it part of the fiscal budget starting July 1st, then, I mean, the timetable needs to be stepped up quickly, and it needs to be settled before Memorial Day, so that if we decide to alter our budget proposal by $300,000 in the health benefits line item, it's underfunded by $300,000, you know, then what you're talking about is, if we can't come to an agreement with the union, we'd have to find $300,000 to cut somewhere, and that's going to be generally salary, people. So, if that's the case, and we're planning on doing that, we're looking at revisiting that particular issue, because that's a major source of revenue, that we should decide that soon, if the administration
Well, you know,
get up to
first-
do it, and then from a budgetary standpoint at town meeting, get up and say. And I think we broached the subject the other night, that it's $300,000, two-thirds of the employees are on the school side, and what that would mean, really, in real terms, is that that's $200,000 worth of restorations that wouldn't take place, and we'd have to find $100,000, you know, on our side, if you're gonna do it on a percentage basis.
Well, I think without having the insurance rate number, knowing where we're at, then it's hard to even project what that
We're
number
not talking
will
about
be.
that.
No, I'm talking about the change. And the change was an estimated number based on rates.
Right.
Until we have the new rates and ask them for what that is, we don't know what the exact number is.
Right, but I think it's important to get that.
Anyway, I'm of the opinion that we need to still work at this. I'm not happy with where we're at, but I do understand that we all have a view, and that we have to weigh carefully, what we think is important, what our priorities are. But
We want to get it, I mean, I don't want to send the administration on a wild goose chase. You know, if the board isn't, majority of the board isn't so like-minded, you know, are we going to continue to look at our current proposal between now and town meeting, aside from the premium issue? We're going to be looking at possibility of further adjustments on the federal government side to the school department. If the majority of the board's like-minded, then we charge the administration to go forward. If we're not, tell them.
it's fair.
You might want to get a consensus.
I'm trying to get clear, Steve, trying to get clear what you're asking now. Are you saying we make a commitment on the $300,000?
Do we want to continue looking at the subject matter any further, or do we
In other
not?
words, like this list here?
If we see more revenue, certainly we
I'm-
do.
No,
If
I
we see
think
more
what
cuts, we certainly do.
specifically what I was inferring was, do we want to look at and aggressively go after changing the copay, which could generate $300,000.